can I just point out? I don't know if you talked about a little bit on there. I listened to it, the Killer Mike interview with Herschel Walker, but I did notice that I didn't hear nothing about what's your black agenda? Are you for reparations? You know, they ask and I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Be clear. I'm not saying that you should not ask Democrats, whatever your agenda, whatever your priorities are, get the question on the record, get the answer on the record. However, what I'm saying is, I'm so shocked because every time I turn around, when y'all talk about the Democrats haven't gotten this reparations, the Democrats haven't gotten X, Y, and Z. But then when you have a conversation with somebody running for office, you don't ask them about the same priorities that you claim are so much of a priority that you drag Democrats on. So I'm just saying keep the same energy, because I didn't hear a question about reparations to Herschel Walker.
And I didn't hear a question from Killer Mike to Herschel Walker, who, of course, is running for Senate in Georgia, about Black farmers. If he asked the question, I missed it.
He did not.
You know this. Okay, I've just, whatever, maybe I missed it, but you're confirming he didn't. Considering that, that Senator Warnock has been an advocate for Black farmers, got a bill passed, and it's been blocked. To give debt relief to Black farmers, considering Herschel Walker, although I don't know if he lives in Georgia, I think he still lives in Texas, who knows, but considering that it's been blocked, that would have been a beautiful question from Killer Mike, because Killer Mike cares about capitalism. He cares about Black communities. He says, why wouldn't you ask him, what are you going to do about the debt relief that's being blocked for Black farmers from, to be frank, white Republicans?
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And if Killer Mike did his research, he would also know that Herschel Walker said that reparation, this is a quote, is outside of the teachings of Jesus Christ.
Ooh, so no, he did not.
Killer Michael, that's what Herschel Walker said. I would love for Killer Mike, I'm sure Killer Mike is some kind of faith-based guy. I would love for him to have questioned him on that comment and get some background of what these teachings of Christ happen to be, considering he's running for the Georgia Senate. So that was a little bit strange to me. So
and one more thing on the topic too. Okay, but let me also say this. Raphael Warnock did get $5 billion for Black farmers in the American Rescue Plan. So he accomplished that. Now the courts are blocking it because white folks is racist. I'm gonna say all, but you know what I'm saying? The farmers, the white farmers. And mind you, this is another reason why I push back when people say it doesn't say black, because the bill did not say black. Technically it didn't. It used the word, I believe, underserved or something along. It was code for Black. But even with that language, the farmer said it discriminates against us being white. Okay. So this is why you have to be very strategic about the kind of language that you use, because you can get, okay, fine, I'm gonna say Black farmers get $1 billion and I'm gonna put on a bill and it passes and it's immediately blocked. So you have to have a little bit more sophistication and understanding of how things work. But with that being said, there could be a fix in Congress to kind of tweak the language or whatever, but there has to be the political will for that. And that's something that obviously Herschel Walker will not do. But the other point is Herschel Walker said that John Lewis would be upset about the push for voting rights, which, by the way, is called the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And he actually sponsored it before his death. And that was something he championed his entire life. This is what Herschel Walker said. So for me, yes. Crazy. He said John Lewis would be opposed, because Senator Warnock, he was the one who was pushing it, he was championing it, along with others, but he had the fucking nerve to sit up there and say that John Lewis would be opposed to the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Does that make sense?
And Killer Mike, considering he's now a journalist interviewer on Revolt TV, he didn't question him about that?
No. Oh, wait, hold on. I have the quote because I know I had a screenshot. He said that putting John Lewis's name on the Democrats' bill is quote unquote sad because the bill quote unquote doesn't fit what John Lewis stood for. That's what he said in the interview. And this is the same person I got up there with Killer Mike talking about how people forget about Black people and this, that, and the other. And every single position that Herschel Walker holds is anti-Black. And Raphael Warnock, Senator Warnock, has the receipts for things he's done for Black people specifically. But hey, it is what it is.
John Lewis, I know you know this, Reese, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act basically restored the 1964 Voting Rights Act. that John Lewis fought for.
Yeah.
That's lunacy. And that is a disservice that Killer Mike, considering he's sitting down with people and interviewing people, wouldn't ask about that. Yeah. And I was saying this before. Give me one white person who's running for Senate right now on the Republican side. The guy in Pennsylvania, I forgot his name. He won the primary.
Was it Oz? I don't remember which one of them won it.
Oh, Oz or what? Oh, what about, is it J.D. Vance? Is he running it?
J.D. Vance, yes, he won.
Okay,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Show me the interview where J.D. Vance sits down with a country singer.
Yeah.
Or, a white celebrity. Show me that interview. Killer Mike is a rapper.
Yeah.
Who loves Bernie Sanders. But show me the interview where J.D. Vance or any white Republican will sit down with a celebrity. It infantilizes us. Why can't Herschel Walker sit down with Roland Martin? Mm-hmm. Why can't Herschel Walker sit down with Karen Hunter? Why can't Herschel Walker, hell, give me Don Lemon? Hell, why can't get maybe even Lester Holt? I don't know. Right. But you don't want to do that because they'll actually hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. They'll hold you accountable. And that's the disservice that does to us as voters, us as people. And you never see it on the other side. No. You never even see a Latin person who's running for Congress sitting down with Jennifer Lopez or Mark Anthony. Like, you don't see that. But it happens in it infantilizes us. So what's next? Herschel's going to talk to Diddy and Kanye and Chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a way. It demeans. First of all, it demeans the work of so many Black journalists who will sit down and give Herschel Walker a fair interview. And for the people of Georgia, it's insulting to them as well that Herschel Walker would sit down with Killer Mike. I'm not saying Killer Mike is a bad person. Yeah. I'm just saying that's not his lane. You and I couldn't be a rapper anytime soon. No. That's not our lane. And that's disappointing about it. And those two key questions, reparations, debt relief to farmers, to not question him on, and then the comments about John Lewis, he should be held accountable for those comments.
Yeah.
Shame on Killer Mike.
Yeah. But I mean, that's who it's, you know what, to be fair, Killer Mike has his own show and it's actually on PBS and on Revolt. That's who they choose to give the shows to on these national platforms, as they choose to go off of popularity and people who really don't have the depth and the range to handle these things. And what I would say, unfortunately, I know people don't like the Charlemagnes and the other people, but the Democrats have to do better at going into these spaces. I mean, to be fair, Killer Mike did invite Senator Warnock. Why ain't you on the show? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Democrats are too afraid sometimes of getting a bad soundbite or of getting, a bad interview. Well, if you're doing a lot of interviews, it won't really matter. But when y'all do one interview a month or whatever the situation may be, then you don't have enough content that you're putting out. Like Pete Buttigieg is everywhere. I mean, he do travel and leisure. He do the points guy. He would do whatever as the Secretary of Transportation. Get that energy so that you can go into these spaces of people who wouldn't necessarily be listening to you otherwise.
But the thing is, Reese, I think it's a tough double standard because Senator Warnock, if he didn't go on Killer Mike's show, okay. But on the flip side, Walker will not go on Roland Martin's show.
No, of course not.
You know what I mean? So it's frustrating. So if it's unfortunate that it's almost like Senator Warnock cannot say no to Killer Mike for whatever. Maybe he saw the interview with Walker and said, listen, I don't want to do that. Or maybe he's seen other interviews and outlets like that. So you know what? I want to do more serious content. But on the flip side, Walker won't even dip into the other side. So it's almost like we always have to overcompensate. And that's frustrating for me. And maybe he will do Killer Mike's show at some point. He was on my show 2 weeks ago.
I saw that. That's really cool. And Senator Warnock is an excellent interviewer. I was a part of the interview panel when he was on Roland. And I think he's incredibly talented. He has receipts, but I think, yes, there are double standards, but Republicans have their own apparatus where they're constantly getting their message out to their voters. They don't have to go to hostile territory because they have a whole right-wing conservative media. Democrats don't, Also, the Republican voters are always engaged all the time because they're watching Fox News and all this other crap. Democratic voters are mostly not engaged, and so you have to reach people that aren't watching MSNBC and CNN all the time or listening to even Sirius XM Urban View. You have to reach people that are watching entertainment shows. So that's the double standard just because of the way that different demographics are tuned in to what's happening in the world. Not everybody is tuned into politics, unfortunately.
Agreed.